treasurer, and Luis Lazuda, our staff person. Go ahead. I just wanted to be able to promote something really exciting. We have been working on securing a keynote speaker for our 2025 Summer Gala, and we have. It's going to be with Deborah Taffa. She was National Book Award finalist for memoir, and she is a professor at the IAIA in Santa Fe. So we're thrilled to have invited her and her being accepted. She's going to speak for about 20 minutes and including a read from her book, Whiskey Tender. We're also going to have music by Nacha Mendez, who is a favorite, and so we always try and incorporate that if we can. It's going to be at the Las Campanas, the club at Las Campanas, as it has been for the last few years. The date is Thursday, August 21st from 5:30 to 8:30. Tickets will be $75 per person and will go on sale on Monday, this Monday. So I encourage you all to consider attending the Summer Gala. It's going to be an exciting evening with Deborah Taffa and Nacha Mendez. Next slide, please. We have a number of benefits for members, and the board has been working hard on trying to secure more opportunities for our members, their benefits. Of course, networking and workshops are one of the major benefits to being an NMBA member. And the topic for today will be on workshops, what your experience has been and what ideas you might have for us to consider for workshops in the future. We offer 3 awards during the course of the year. In January, we awarded the Richard Harris Award to Ana Castillo for her book. And for some reason I'm blanking. But anyway, she was honored to receive the award. And we distributed 15 books to rural libraries and also to Native American libraries across the state. Our big award season is the Southwest Book Design Awards, Book Design and Production Awards, and that is open at the moment to submit. It's basically an award to evaluate the quality of the book, the cover, how it was designed, and how it was presented. The early bird discount deadline is today. We have 2 major celebrations each year, Winter Fiesta, which we had with Rebecca Reynolds in January, and then the Summer Gala, which we will be having in August with Deborah Taffa. Members have sales opportunities at conferences and on bookshop.org. So if you are unfamiliar with that, please look into that on our website. We have a quarterly newsletter called Libro Nuevo. And what we're trying to do is really sort of make it more vibrant and actually have a lot more information. So one of the new things that we've added is interviews with current members on video. And so there's a link in the newsletter where you can go to our YouTube site and see an interview with a member. We are also adding a section called Around the State of New Mexico, and we're highlighting literary events across the state. We have a number of member discounts, including a $5 discount on online workshops, saving $30 on a membership with the International Book Publishers Association, and $20 per title on the first SWIBTA entry and $15 for additional category entries. Next slide, please. If you were a participant at the New Mexico Writers' Dinner at our book display table, your book will also be highlighted at the Santa Fe International Literary Festival. That is May 16th through the 18th at the Santa Fe Community Convention Center. Next slide. We discussed a little bit about this. Today is the early bird deadline for the Southwest Book Design and Production Awards. June 20th is the final deadline, so please keep an eye on your calendars and please submit. Next slide. These are some of the discounts related to SWIBDA, which is also on our website. Next slide, please. Paula has been where is Paula? I don't see Paula there. I don't know if she's still there. She organizes the Garcia Street Meet the Authors event, which is at the first Saturday of most months, and we have now expanded into winter. So if you have any interest in participating, please contact Paula Lozier or email Libra Nueve email on our website. Next slide, please. Our networking meeting, we usually obviously alternate between Tiny's and Zoom. We are meeting today on Zoom because of the unanticipated cancellation. We have also introduced a 10-minute reading by an author of their books. We're not going to do that today because it was too short notice for people to be prepared to read, but that will resume next month at Tiny's. If you are interested, please contact Luis and he will get you on the schedule. Next slide. So we're going to go back to some of our original structure of the Zoom workshops and do and skip the author reading today. But today's topic, we want to really discuss and drill down into workshops. Many of you have taken workshops, have organized workshops for NNBA. But what I'd like to do is get a lot more feedback from members about what your experiences have been with workshops when you've taken them and ideas for new workshops. If on either topic, you're welcome to make a note in the chat. We're a small group, so we're not going to break out into smaller groups, I don't think. Let me see how many people we have. No, I think we can, Luis, I think we can stay in one group.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I'd like to open the conversation with what have your experiences been with NNBA workshops? Deborah, go ahead.
I've just gone to a few. I'm really happy to see those kinds of programs. I think that's really a good part of the mission of the association to bring professionals to the table.
What workshops have you attended, if you don't mind me
I
asking?
went to an AI one and then I went to Rebecca's.
Mm-hmm.
But I get the newsletter. I see what comes through, and I think that it's I don't know when you started to offer those programs, but I think that's the key to driving membership and keeping people engaged and being able to, maybe you can you're drawing upon members as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as well as just the professional community. Um, I'd like to see more members so that I could learn what kind of professional skills there are within the association.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a specific topic area that you're interested in?
Um, hmm. Well, marketing is always key. So, getting some bright-eyed, the next generation of marketing, the different platforms, how to navigate.
Mm-hmm. Okay, social media platforms, because they've really exploded, haven't they? I mean, there's so many things right now
And
available.
yeah, in the future of digital publishing, what are, so there, do you know the guy that started the ebooks for Amazon in 2000 and when they started, it was the early 90s. He made like the first 200 ebooks for Amazon.
Okay.
Lives in Santa Fe, and I've forgotten his name, but I was thinking he would be a good speaker.
That would be
Yeah.
great. So he lives in Santa Fe. He was
Yeah, he does those meetups. What's the name of that networking thing where you can sign up for all these different subjects that you're interested in? It's called meetups, and there's one on AI.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know it,
Running
Paula?
the AI monthly or bi-monthly things. They're happening downtown across from Collected Works Bookstore upstairs on the front. There's a restaurant up there.
I've heard of it, but I can't remember the name of
I
it.
can find I'll find the email with the information. It's called, what is it called? That's how much I use it, but I try to go but I have his business card. I will send you, who should I send to his email
I'm
contact?
just putting my email in the chat. And
All
Luis, do
right.
you want to put yours in the chat too?
Do. Okay.
Thank you,
I've been
Deborah.
meaning to meet up with him, so I will do that. Um, also,
Hmm.
do we have speakers about podcasts, about how to build your own podcast and how to work with podcast people?
We do not. That's another great idea. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I think we just had a member join NMBA who is in the podcasting world, so that's a good suggestion. I think that's somebody we can reach out to.
Excellent.
Guy. Mary Charlotte, who runs the Santa Fe Radio Cafe, she's looking at opening her radio station back up again. She's been doing exclusive work for Key Vera Foundation. She's, of course, our in local radio host. And I would just throw out there the difference between podcast and radio. I asked her because I was very confused. Is that radio is community based and podcasts are international in scope.
Mm-hmm.
And
There
that's
is
what,
one.
and
There's
Mary Charlotte just recently rejoined, so that's excellent.
Okay, so maybe she's the podcaster
Hmm. Hmm.
because that's what she does. I'm so glad. Good.
Yeah,
Debate
excellent.
work.
Anna, there's someone else too who's good. Carly Neufeld out at the Santa Fe Community College does
right.
readings, author books readings, and I think she calls it The Last Word.
Yes,
That's
she's
right.
great.
She's
Yeah.
great.
She's really good. And I actually, Shirley Mellis and I interviewed with her last year to publicize the summer gala with Hampton Side. So that's another great idea.
Mhm.
Do we have a membership directory that is searchable by profession or area? I'm not taking full advantage of the community, I believe.
Louise, do you want to address that, please?
Yeah, it is, you can filter by profession.
Okay,
So in the member directory, you can filter by, I think, location and profession.
Sally Bingham is an elderly literary figure in our community, and the last thing I'll suggest is that maybe she could be an honored guest at the gala or something. She's like 85,
Right.
too.
Great.
I think dementia is
Mhm.
starting to set in on her. And Mary Charlotte is a close personal friend of hers, so that's the way to invite her.
Great. That's a very good suggestion. Thank you so much, Deborah.
Okay, that's it. That's it for me.
Anyone else what are other people's experiences with workshops?
The virtual books tour was an excellent workshop, and I think Deborah's suggestions are great. Those are all really good ideas. My sense is we'll also continue to need more detail about AI, not just the problems and pitfalls, but ways to use it. And just I think all of us want to see how dangerous is it, and how much of a threat is it when it turns out to be using our own work as part of its learning material.
I've had an experience recently because I do not use ChatGPT because there's so much controversy about them collecting authors' work and publishing it on the website. But one thing I've been very intrigued by recently is Google Gemini. And it's very much like Grammarly in some ways. I think if anybody's ever used Grammarly. And I use it largely to for idea generation, but also when I'm working, for example, I'm working on an article right now for a magazine, and I struggle sometimes with subheads or headlines. So I'll put, these are the things I want to put in a headline. And so it will generate a list of options. Now, some of them are really boring, and not particularly creative. And so I will actually say in the chat with the bot, with the Gemini bot, that's boring. I need to be more creative. And they'll come back with some other things. And so my husband was teasing me one day because I was going so fast and responding. The system got stuck and couldn't respond anymore. And so my husband teased me and said I broke Gemini, which I did not. But I find it much more interesting AI platform. I've also read an article recently that said that ChatGPT gathers everything from the internet, both factual and non-factual.
Mhm.
And Gemini is a little bit more intuitive to the writer's voice. And they are more visually oriented. So a lot of the questions that I might put in, the system thinks about it from a visual point of view as well. So I find that interesting. So I think that AI is certainly with us, but I think there are other platforms other than ChatGPT that we could explore in a workshop.
Yeah.
There are, and I'll just tell you because I've gotten some inputs on this from Gordon Fuller, who is a descendant of Buckminster Fuller and is totally, for decades, involved in AI. He recommended these two, and I've used them. Perplexity.ai. It's a website thing. You don't have to go through an app. I pay for a subscription, a small amount. You have a choice. You don't publish your information, does not get published on the internet unless you choose it to get published and be publicly available. And the one for literary works and writing is Claude, Claude, Claude.ai. Try those out for alternatives.
Can I make a comment
What is
about
the second
this?
one? Claude, how do you spell it?
Claude, Claude.
.com?
Dot AI.
.ia. Okay, great.
Dot AI, yeah.
Okay.
AI for the artificial intelligence. They all have their
Oh, that's
but-
right. Yes.
yeah, but you
exactly.
have to choose, what you publish. You do not, your some of the free platforms, you are more exposed, but there's nothing, you can totally control your content.
Mhm.
I don't think all of us appreciate how much AI is already affecting our daily existence. I
Mhm.
mean, we think about it here insofar as a research tool or something to aid in giving you ideas about your writing. Doctors get sick too, and the way we can become better doctors is we become patients. So I want to give you a background of what happened to me. I had a procedure done at my university, but I was a professor at for 4 decades. And through my chart, I asked about an antibiotic that I should take beforehand. And the response came back, take the antibiotic that we prescribed. This decision has been made without the input of a doctor or nurse. This decision has been made by artificial intelligence. That's it.
Ew.
So I
Yuck.
took both the antibiotic that they recommended and the antibiotic that my internist recommended because I've had a heart infection in the past. And once you had one, you don't want another. Okay.
Mhm.
And then I brought it up to the doctors who did the procedure. And this is the former chairman of the department at the University of California, San Francisco. And he said to me, that never happened.
Mhm.
And I said, are you saying I made that up? Because it's in my chart. That recommendation is there. It's electronic, but it's there. And he said, well, I think we should look into that. And I said, that would be the right answer.
Mhm.
But I don't believe they ever did. Okay. And if it's happening in the healthcare system where decisions are being made by not even a machine, this is, a collection of atoms in a program, essentially. Decisions are being made, and people are basically saying, well, the doctors weren't even aware.
Mhm.
of what had been recommended. And I was told, we'll look into that. I don't believe they do. Everybody's moving so fast.
Everybody's
As
moving
long
too
as
fast.
as long as something horrible didn't happen, um, it's a non-event. So
But what if it had, you see, what if it had? And I've heard that in 10 years, this may be another urban legend, who knows? But in 10 years, doctors will not be interacting with us. It will be AI. So I personally am very suspicious of AI, I have to say.
yeah,
Mhm.
well, I'm a hands-on kind of guy, even though as a psychiatrist, I don't put my hands on you. Um, but
Me
I'd
too, I'm
like
a
to
psychologist.
just let people know that decision making is happening in different systems, and those involved aren't really always aware of it.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. Paula, has anybody at the Meet the Authors groups that you've had interactions with authors, has anybody raised questions about potential workshops?
Uh, Not that I remember, no. I'm sure many of the people who participate would like to have more workshops about topics like marketing or, um, how to get your book out there to the general public, but nobody's made any specific suggestions that I can recall. So, but yeah, but
Jonathan?
meet the
Jonathan, go
author
ahead.
continues, so we may yet get some. Yeah.
Exactly. Jonathan, have you had experience with workshops?
Yeah, I took the virtual book tour one,
Hmm.
and in the past I've given a lot of workshops myself. I thought that was a very good one. Uh, my sense is that there's an enormous amount of information about AI, as Deborah suggests, that would be of interest to us. For instance, what's the difference between Claude and Perplexity? I've used Perplexity a little. I find it fun, particularly when you look up yourself. It's great to see what's online uh, and what's omitted. Um,
Well, to answer that question, I would go to Perplexity and I would ask that question. And it'll give me citations and search the internet instead of me searching the internet and reading all those hundreds of articles to compare. And then it'll give you a condensed response to give you, a decent differentiation. But you always have to look at it yourself. So
Mhm.
ask
I
AI
think
about itself.
Yeah.
clearly uh, the ability to do a good AI prompt is a whole industry in itself these days. Surely in a few years that won't be true, but I certainly find with ChatGPT that I have to give it many detailed instructions. But then an interesting aspect is what's the writing style of ChatGPT? One thing I do like is that it does bulleted items, it does indented outlines, it does numbered sequences. Um, so it's much more digestible, I find, than Gemini, which
Mm.
tends to write big, long paragraphs that are kind of boring. Um, hopefully accurate, but they're not very attuned to reading online.
Exactly. Several people have raised an interest in have more interest in marketing workshops. Can we talk about more specifically what that might mean? Deborah brought out social media as one aspect of it, and podcast was another one. What other kinds of marketing aspects do you think we should pursue that would be beneficial to writers?
Well, it seems to me that for some people that are self-published, um, getting awards is one way of getting attention for your book, and that's marketing, I guess.
Mhm.
So that would be in addition to social media.
Mhm.
Lanisha Adams and hosted a workshop specifically on that, and that is on our website.
Okay.
Excuse me, but that's a good piece to raise. Thank you for raising that.
Yeah. Yeah, Deborah has her hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who does?
It's, yeah, Deborah has her hand up.
Oh, Deborah. Sorry, didn't see. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Deborah.
Well, you're
Unmute.
muted. Yeah.
Is it me? Oh, wait a minute. I was just putting my hand on my to hold my head up. But the other thing I'm interested in developing here in this town is trying to find where all the agents are. Where are all the agents? They're buried in the corners, the closets, the state somewhere. We want to know where they are. Can we possibly lure them out? Find a way to know how to send, where to send worthy projects to help. There's only so much as a publisher can do. I tell people to go to the New Mexico Book Publishing Association. But where are all the agents in this town? Does anybody know? And can we interest them in becoming members?
That's a very good idea.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
are desperate. We're in a desert. We are in a desert surrounded by water.
I like that idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And to,
Alan, yeah. I think a lot of agents, at least the people I've been in touch with, they tend not to focus geographically so much as focus on genre or something like that. I mean, if you go to, let's say, Mystery Writers of America website, they'll have lists of people that you can contact, list of publishers that they recommend, and all that sort of thing. And that it's more genre based than geography based. But I could be wrong. But that's my impression from looking at a lot of agent based websites.
There's
Deborah
the New
raises an
Mexico
interesting.
Writers Association, I think. Is that what that offers this award program every year to like
Mhm.
20? Is it called the New Mexico Writers Association?
Yeah, New Mexico Writers. Yeah, they're the ones that put on the Writers Dinner. They, I don't believe they have any kind of listing of agents or anything of that nature. They're mostly focused on their award program and their events, but they're more about um, finding people who are working on interesting writing projects and giving them some financial support. So agents are not really in their wheelhouse. Although I'm sure there were a few agents at the dinner, but I didn't I didn't seek them out. So
Would be
I think
it
I
would
think
be
that's a that I
yeah,
think
go
that's a
ahead.
good point. That's a good point to raise, Deborah. How to interest agents to become members, but also from what you were saying, I wonder if a workshop about how to write a very enticing query letter might be of use.
Oh, or
mhm,
yeah, resources to help authors. So I could send all these wannabe authors to that webinar.
mhm, mhm. Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah. Or
yeah.
another thing might be getting somebody who actually is an agent, and we do have one or two who surface periodically in NMBA, getting somebody who's actually an agent to talk about, what to do, what not to do, how to appeal to an agent,
Mm.
Oh,
because I'm
that would
sure
be
they get a lot
awesome.
of really bad proposals,
Mhm.
finding out what they find appealing and what they think. And of course, a lot of that's going to be subjective by agent. I mean, some of them go in for certain kinds of things more than others, but nonetheless, just general ideas about how to
How about we
present
have
your
if there's two agents, can we have two agents on like a, panel, have more than one perspective?
that might be a good idea. Yeah,
Okay, panel
yeah,
of agents. Okay, that's another great idea.
yeah.
l- let me just
And
second.
that's a way to open up the door to find out where the other agents are because all the agents know each other.
Mhm, mhm.
And let me second Paula's point that agents tend to specialize in certain areas, certain genres, and so it would be interesting to hear from them what their take is on the commercial publishing world today, and how they navigate that, particularly because they don't live in New York.
Mhm.
How do they handle that? How often do they go to New York? How long do they stay there? How many publishing houses are they really in touch with
Mhm.
these
Mhm.
days?
Yeah. I get the impression that now there's a lot more being done remotely and,
Mhm.
over the internet than going and having power lunches with publishers. But
Power lunches.
I'm
That's a throwback term, power lunch.
a
Dan,
throwback.
so am I. Dan, what have you what is your perspective? What have you learned after while chairing the workshop committee?
Yeah, I think that generally speaking, the workshops have been successful, and we seem to have a reasonable number of people who are interested in them. Um, I haven't received any complaints about workshops,
Mhm.
so I'm guessing that we're basically handling them reasonably well.
Mhm.
How can we entice people to sign up for a workshop? What can we do to better interest members and other people? I mean, because for example, in Rebecca Reynolds' workshop, a lot of the people were not members of NMBA who participated. So what other strategies can we use to entice people to participate?
I think, Louise does a very good job of advertising them beforehand. In the case of Rebecca, she has her own email lists, and she,
Mhm.
of course, encouraged her crowd to join her.
Mhm.
They, and I think, we can certainly, ask people who are doing workshops if they have such email lists that they should use them for that purpose.
Mhm.
Um, Yeah, other than that, I'm not sure exactly if there's anything more that we can do than simply to continue advertising them on the NMBA outlets that we have.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What
Yeah.
what about advertising in the Reporter, in the New Mexican, in the PASA?
We do actually calendar notices. We're in touch with the calendar editors. And one thing we started to do this last winter is we started to write 30-second PSAs that are free for KSFR. But I'd like to try and expand that to KUNM, for example, and just expand it a little bit more. And when we do a workshop, we send a release out to all these media in Los Alamos, in Taos, various other places. But yes, I think we continue to do more of that.
And what if we paid for a quarter page or something?
I actually looked at advertising rates for the Winter Fiesta, not for the workshops, but for the Winter Fiesta, and they're quite, even banner ads, digital ads are quite expensive. So we'd have to build our membership and our sponsorships if in future if we were to pursue that, because right now it's a bit cost prohibitive. That's why I'm investigating ways to do things for free.
Well, the Four Winds Journal comes out quarterly now, the one that I publish. And we can certainly put an ad in there, and a quarter page would be like, I don't know, $25.
What is your
Oh.
journal, Valentine?
Four
What's
Winds Journal.
Four Winds Journal? Okay.
Four Winds
Yeah.
Journal.
It's published online, and also we do print. People
Oh.
have to pay for the print. The online version is free.
Okay, I will definitely take a look at that and follow up with you.
Okay.
Thank you for
It's-
suggesting that.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm having a hard time finding the New Mexico Book Association Facebook page. Do we have one?
There is one, yes.
It does. The only thing that comes up when I Google it, look for it, is New Mexico is the private group. I mean, when I am in Facebook looking for it. So what's the actual name? It's easy to share on Facebook.
Louise, do you want to handle that one?
Yeah,
Where is
Hmm.
it?
it might be hard for me to give an answer because since I visit the page so often, it just populates for me.
Right.
But
New
we
Mexico.
have it as New
Wait a minute.
Mexico.
Okay.
I just pulled it up. It's New Mexico Book Association.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I've got it listed as following. Yes, I can find the page.
Okay, good. Wow, that's weird. It doesn't come up on my
Yeah.
Mhm.
search
So
for
it is active because we've just posted something about the summer gala.
new.
And what's interesting is we have a lot of reposts from Southwest Writers, which is also good.
Oh, there it is. It's
For the
coming up.
question.
The page. Okay. I found it and I will start to follow that.
Okay, great.
All right. So I
You
can
know,
help
honestly,
share.
sometimes it's kind of hard to find these things. You think you put the right information in, and it's like nothing comes up.
Right. So
Hmm.
in respect to the marketing, we do utilize social media. We do post on local Santa Fe and New Mexico writing groups and author groups. We, I do reach out to other book associations to try to collaborate. Social media can be very tricky, a very tricky space. They're constantly updating. There's new metrics. There's new ways to be seen. But we are publishing in different groups. We are trying stories, posts, try to do it organically. So again, we would appreciate if you're able to share the social media pages, but we'll be active on there as well. We're trying to adapt to the new ways of marketing.
If you have a small budget, like, $25 a month or something for Facebook advertising, that can help expand your followers outside of the usual suspects.
Right, right. And it's totally an avenue we're looking at. With the workshops, we are trying to ask around if the scheduling is fine. We typically host these workshops middle of the week around 1 p.m. Um, what is the feedback from this group? Is the scheduling ever an issue?
Mhm.
The midweek, midday workshops, is that convenient? Could that be a constraint? What is the experience in this group?
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah.
Found it good and convenient. It wasn't on the weekend. It was, it's work related. So, the midday, depending upon what coast you're on, were good for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of our members have flexible enough schedules that, midweek is fine. But of course, the fact that we're all on today at noon, this may self-sort the group into people who are free at midday.
Sure.
Whereas,
Sure.
if we ask the membership in general, we may get a different answer.
But it was Wednesdays, I think, right? Or Wednesday, Thursday, not a Friday.
There's,
Yeah, Wednesdays are good. Yeah.
and one
What
of
if
the
you
other
publish
pieces,
twice?
sorry?
What if you
Pardon?
published midweek and then, repeated it on the weekend? Could you not do that?
Well, what we do is we videotape or Zoom tape the workshop, and then we post it online on our web page, and so people who are unable to attend can access it.
Mhm.
Reduced for reduced rate. Is that correct, Louise?
That's correct. So there
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
so it is $20 for members for the live workshop, and that what's great about that is you can ask questions in the Q&A portion.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we do have a recorded version that I believe after 1 month we reduced the rate to $15, and
That's
you can
right.
watch that at your own convenience and also view the presentation file that's presented.
Mhm.
And if you pay for the full price and you can't see the whole thing, you still can log in and see it afterwards.
That's correct.
That's
Yeah.
correct. Yes. If you, yeah. Mhm. So we're trying to make it more accessible because one of the things we want to do with that reduction is not only reach people that couldn't attend, but to reach people from all over the state. So we're promoting that with Southwest Writers, Somos and Taos, Spruce's Writers, all those different writer groups, so that they know they can access it as well.
Oh, can I ask what happened to our partners or the co-op in Albuquerque? I know Paul Red's passed. Did he pass away or that
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
he's are they still any active thing going on in Albuquerque?
Um, they've pretty much closed down the writers. What do they call it? The book co-op. No, Paul Retz is still alive. Barb Awalt passed away a few years ago, and Paul's kind of backed off from everything. He's pretty much retired. And in
Right.
fact, the awards program that they used to run is now under the auspices of New Mexico Writers, which is which the group we were talking about earlier. But yeah, the book co-op is no longer a going thing. So
Well, how about tapping into the old members of the New Mexico Book Co-op to join the New Mexico Book Association?
now that's a thought. Yeah, that hasn't occurred to us. I don't know how much
Our
our
biggest
members.
problem is our isolation, in my view.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we don't, I
it's a
think we
small
don't
community,
always.
which is good. It's got strengths, but there's, in terms of the marketing efforts, and I'm just as guilty as absolutely everybody here. I'm 45 minutes away from Albuquerque. I never go there, and I know I can sell a lot more books by going there.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So I'm kind of just throwing it out there. Maybe, especially since there's no activity going on there, we can try to bring that
Mhm.
north and also do some pilots, some things in work with. I mean, there's great bookstores there.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
There's also a university.
and the
Yeah.
UNM. And
Um,
how come
I would
should-
think that they would love to have some kind of a relationship with this association. Different departments could,
Mhm.
take advantage of certain kind of speakers, or certain
Yeah.
people would be reading on a particular topic, and that,
Yeah.
the academic audience it wouldn't hurt to
Mhm.
have a relationship with the English department or whomever.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Exactly.
does anybody have a good contact at the New Mexico, at the UNM book?
Jordan does because the publishing entity of UNM submits a lot of books to the Swibdo Award, so I can follow up with Jordan about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jordan
Yeah,
Jones.
following up with the local academic institutions is probably a good idea as well. We might pick up a few members there.
Well, and that's interesting that both of you have raised that, and I think it's a really important issue. All three of you have raised it. Because Deborah Taffa is going to be our keynote at the Summer Gala. I'm traveling next week, but once I get back, I'm going to set up a meeting with Deborah to try and sort of really connect into the creative writing department at IAIA. And that was part of one of the things that we've talked about doing is
Yeah.
build relationships with places like IAIA and Santa Fe Community College, but UNM would be an obvious choice as well.
Can I ask how many members do we have?
About 100. Luis, help me out here. It's like
I
100.
believe we're at 164.
That's what I thought. I thought it was 164, 165. Yeah. And that's probably tripled in the last few years. I mean, when I came on the board, I think we were at about 110, 115, something like that. So I think we've really built
Yeah.
leadership,
We
but
picked
that's
up a
really,
lot. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
picked up a lot. Yeah.
Good.
So,
Excellent. Well,
Yeah.
these are all really good ideas. What we've done with workshops is because we didn't want to inundate people with a workshop choice every month, we have elected to do 3 workshops in the spring and 3 workshops in the fall. So our spring workshops are finished for the year, but then we will start again in September. So September, October, November, we'll have workshops. And
Can I throw out Bill Gibbs if he's still alive as a potential speaker or workshop?
who
or
is
us?
Bill Gibbs?
William Gibbs Publishing up in the I think they're based in Colorado or Utah. They're in the Southwest and they're major. They're bio-regional publisher
Okay.
and they've got hundreds of titles in print. He's come to stuff. I've met him before at New Mexico Book of Public at the it was a conference we had. The Publishing University conference I think was here one year. He came to that, but he's
Mm.
he's a very wise publisher. He's and regionally here, and he does his own distribution, and he's still
Mhm.
survived as far as I know. I haven't looked him up for a while. I'll look him up.
Okay. Okay.
I'll look him up, and then I'll
Great.
send a little blurb about him to you, Anna, or
Okay,
to
yes, or Luis or Anna, it's in the chat.
Okay.
Valentine, thank you for the information about the journal. Valentine, could you put your email in the chat, please?
Yeah, I'm just doing that now.
Oh, great, thank you.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever happened to Southwest Riders? Are they still a going thing, or have
Oh,
they
yeah.
pretty much?
No,
Yeah.
they're big. They're still big.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So what I want to do this summer is sort of go down to Albuquerque, get out of my little Santa Fe
Bubble.
bubble, and go down to Albuquerque to attend one of their meetings. But yes, they're still very active, actually.
Good. Yeah.
Winds of Change Press. Okay, wind.
Yeah. They used to have, huge conferences and things like that. And then for a while they kind of faded out, but I think they've come back. So there's somebody we definitely should be trying to collaborate with more. Good.
Just one other thought. AI, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
They've got a good literary group, and it might be good to sort of, reach out to them. And I don't know about the Santa Fe Community College, but I do know that their media department has always been pretty active.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
I've been
Um,
going to many film events and the media arts events, and the AIAI has a new film department. They have a whole mentorship program, or apprenticeship program, and have a whole screenwriters kind of program. So there's what I'm in the midst of is seeing how the overlap of all the media, if how as a publisher I can expand into the multimedia space. So I'm looking at films, I'm looking at books. All of these things are very important to me. I'm also looking at the local newspapers. I just want to throw out here before we go, and I don't know how much time, I'd like to add to an agenda item. If you have other business to talk about, we don't have to talk about immediately, but the Greenfire Times is in
Oh,
trouble.
yeah.
And I would like to talk about that.
Yeah.
Green
Oh,
Fire-
and Deborah, what about a screenwriting? I mean, what about a screenwriting workshop? That would be great.
Yes,
Of us
yes,
and
yes.
books
There's
we'd
so
like
many
to turn into
screenwriters here.
movies.
Okay, I've
There's
got
more
that.
screenwriters than masseuses in this town.
That'd be a lot. That would be really helpful because I've got a couple that I want to turn into movies.
Mhm.
That's also a good suggestion.
Mhm.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate everybody participating. It's a small group, but I think we've had a very dynamic and relevant conversation, and a lot of good ideas have come out. Oh, go ahead, Dr. Bob. Go ahead.
I don't know, Anna, if there's an agenda item where we can make an announcement.
Sure, we've got time. You can do that.
Well, I thought we were going to be meeting in person,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I had organized some time ago in San Francisco an event where hundreds of people showed up wearing these T-shirts and in the colors of Mexico. I just look illegal. I wore it to our friend Ann Hillerman's book signing, and my wife thought I was pushing the political issue a little too much. I want you all to know, here's the excitement. Wounded Workers was my first book.
Mhm.
America's Most Dangerous Job is available on Amazon as of Tuesday. I gave the keynote address for the New Mexico, the Volunteer Medical Corps of New Mexico, which is doctors and nurses that do public health work. Like we did the vaccinations at the early stages of COVID down at UNM. We would vaccinate 1,700 people in a 4-hour period, military operation. And apropos of us not meeting in person today, is because someone had COVID. Well, when I tell people that while I'm a psychiatrist, I'm licensed here in New Mexico, I use my license to vaccinate people, most folks say, oh, good for you. But some say, well, I bet you think you're doing some good. And I'll say, pardon me? And they'll say, it's just a virus. This is what we're up against. We now have people running major departments in Washington, D.C., who have no interest in the public welfare. And to have somebody running Health and Human Services who has so little understanding, not only about biology, but about organizations, is scary. We're going to probably start another measles epidemic And funding for salmonella studies in chickens has been cut. So now we're going to get people sick in another way. And I think we're going to see these repercussions, laying off 10 to 20,000 employees of the IRS during the height of tax season. One might think that was not a great idea. I personally have received my business a notice that we owed some amount of money for fourth quarter taxes. It doesn't say why. And they give you a number and you can't get through. You can be on there for an hour and there's nobody to answer. So that's how the government is going these days. 10,000 people and employees in the Department of Energy were laid off. They didn't realize that these were the people that actually inspect and guard nuclear weapons. So how much are we saving by the kind of things that are going on? It's a bit much, but I'm just saying that the viruses are real. I was still in training when AIDS hit, and I can tell you that viruses can be very scary. We didn't know we could touch people. And I think for all these folks who don't believe in medicine, science, whether it's got to do with climate change or whether it has to do with vaccinations or whatever, I hope that they don't get the shingles vaccination and that they get a good lesson in how a virus can hang out in your neurons for 4 or 5 decades and then come back and wreck your life. Okay? But we're dealing with people who now believe in alternative facts, which there is no such thing. By the way,
here's the rub.
okay. So my new book is out, and it's the 25 most dangerous jobs in the United States. And they are loggers and roofers. And these are all cases that I've seen over 4 decades. And after giving the keynote address to the medical group of volunteers in the state, I'm having a reading and signing the first Saturday in June, and it's back in the Bay Area, and it's going to be of all places, at a dive bar, because it's a fundraiser for first responders and a retreat. So the first $1,000 in book sales will go to this retreat that takes care of cops and firefighters and EMTs, where they go off into a retreat location where there's clinicians, clergy, and peer support in helping them deal with their demons. In those chapters, police and firefighters are the longest in my book, but clearly logging would be more dangerous than most of these other things and such. And so the stories are heartwarming. The tales are heartbreaking, but they also give you hope. And at the end, I had to put a postscript in because I realized in the era we're living in that when I took a look at these cases, I didn't make a conscious effort at this. A vast majority of the cases, the tales, 25 chapters, immigrants or first-generation Americans were usually the employees working as garbage collectors and in construction jobs, in roofing. I did roofing for 1 day and quit. If you don't think you can get hurt roofing, think again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying that the real people that are doing the work are the folks we speak derisively of now, it seems like. And my mother was an immigrant from Italy, never went to high school. Both of her kids went to graduate school, okay? And my great-grandfather died in an industrial injury in Chicago. You know what his family got? He was a legal alien. That's what they called him then.
Yeah.
Deported. They put him they gave him a boat ticket. So.
Can I just interrupt for a second? I just need to know, do we have 2 minutes left or can we go over for an extra 5 minutes? I really need to talk about the Greenfire Times with somebody here. I need some help.
Why don't you go ahead? Thank you, Dr. Bob.
And I've worked it out with Louis to do a reading in the future.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you.
That
Thank you,
sounds
Dr.
really
Bob.
important and really fascinating. I just want to make sure that I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
talk to this group about this. Greenfire Times is going to have one more issue if they can't find somebody to buy them. I'm looking for anybody. Does anybody know Pat Davis, who bought the Santa Fe Reporter recently, or any other thoughts about who might be interested in being a partner or co-owner of a nonprofit magazine that is the only eco green newspaper, community-led a newspaper that we have in this area? If so,
Mm.
What about George Martin?
George Martin, that's a great idea. Thank you very much.
Can you
Brilliant.
send all this information to libroentry@gmail.com and I can add it to our blog and also our e-blast?
What I'm saying?
No,
Or
what
Deborah's saying?
Deborah's saying.
Well, I don't know how public he wants to make this now, but I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to put a call out for interested partners to
Okay.
help to collaborate with the Greenfire Times or something. I'll let Seth, if I'll get Seth's okay, but just so you know, the one that just came out, I told him not to do the last one that he's planning because, it's going to actually make him lose his house. So I told him to stop and to just pause until we can find some community members that might be able to help. So thank you very much, Luis. I'll send you some information to share with the members. And George R.R. Martin is a fantastic suggestion. Anybody else knows how to find me? Should I put my email address in here?
Would you?
And in general for this group as well, and those watching the recording, if you have any announcement to make, just like this one, if you're releasing a book, if you have an event, please shoot us an email. We'd love to put it on our events calendar, on our blog, on our e-blast. We're here to help get the word out for your cause, for your book, for whatever you have going on. Please use us as a resource.
Great.
Thank you, Louise.
All
Sounds
right.
great. Yeah,
I wanted to mention for Valentine's interest that the dean of the UNM libraries, Leo Lowe, has an advanced degree in screenwriting and has done a variety of projects with screenwriting.
Can you,
Uh,
Dan, can you
yes.
put that information out on the chat?
I can put his Dan, do you think it'd be okay to put the email address in the
Yeah,
chat?
sure, that's fine. That's great.
Okay, I'll put that in the chat right now.
Thank you.
I'd like to suggest two other possible workshops.
Mhm.
Mentioning the libraries, it seems to me that we could team up with the librarians and have a workshop on censorship. Since we deal in books, that's a concern that we have, and that might be shared by a great number of people outside our organization.
Great.
A second topic would be, and I'm not clear how it would be done, but what Bob was saying reminds me that really we are all, as writers, dealing with an extraordinary situation politically. And even though one hesitates to offend anyone, we probably do have something to work on, as we've seen with Authors Guild and ASJA, dealing with AI, but also with censorship and removal of grants through NEA and other groups like that.
Okay, that's a good point. Excellent. Well, this was a very vibrant conversation. We covered a lot of ground. So I really appreciate everybody who participated today and were willing to pivot to Zoom. I know it's not as satisfying as being in person, but I think we had a lot of things. We talked about a lot of issues. So I really appreciate everybody for doing that.
It's not as tasty, but it's fun.
Good.
There
Exactly.
you go, yeah.
Plus food's better.
Hey,
Yeah.
thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
See
everybody.
you next time.
Thank
I'll
you.
follow
Yeah,
up
it's
with
great.
those
Thank you,
contacts.
guys.
Bye for now.
Thank you.
Jonathan, you raised your hand. Yeah. What happened to Jonathan? Oh, I guess he.
I think he was waving goodbye.
I think he's
Oh,
waving goodbye.
okay.
Thanks,
All
everybody.
right.
Will
Well, thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.
Will you send me an email?
Yes,
Okay,
I
thanks.
will.
Okay.
All right, thank you all.
Ta-ta.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.